One. The topic of discussion today is probably the most important question of human history, which is, does God exist? In my humble opinion, there are only two philosophies which are flourishing in our current era: Islam as the fastest growing religion, and atheism in the name of enlightenment. Muslims or religious people take atheists as arrogant rejectors, and atheists grade Muslims or religious people as blind faith fools. So before we go any further, it is absolutely essential that we should come out from this pre-mindset of labeling each other and listen to the argument with the open intellect. We both can agree to disagree, but the sole criteria should be the acceptance of truth on the basis of knowledge and not to defeat the opponent. Okay, so back to the topic. Does God exist? To answer that, we first need to check that if we as human really feel the need of a creator. Do we need God or not? Because without this inside urge, it will be like forcing someone to drink water without he actually having the thirst. So do we feel that thirst of having a creator? Now read through the entire human history. It is evident that the concept of one God was always present. Call him Sky Lord, God, Father, Paramatma, Allah, but the concept was always there. I know that an atheist can argue that this concept was emerged from human fear, and a theist can reply, no, it is from love or from thankfulness. But whatever the reason was, the ultimate ground reality is that the human nature always have testified the existence of a supreme being. Therefore, it is not surprising when a child, regardless of his environment, always asks his parent that from where you have brought me, or who has made me. This innocent question of him actually exhibit the very fact that a need of creator emerged from the inside and not from the observation. You can reply to him that you have plucked him from a tree, or you have bought him from a market, or an angel gave him to you. But whatever your answer is, his question, how he has questioned this innocent question is testifying that the need of a God come from inside. Similarly, when we see this highly sophisticated world around us, the human intellect rightly inquires, who has created this world? Or if you are an atheist, your words will be, how has this world been created? Science answers it by presenting the Big Bang theory, which states that the entire universe was a single nebula, and then there was a Big Bang which eventually resulted into our current universe. Science also says that the life started from water. However, a Muslim can reply that if this is the reality, it was already stated in Quran 1400 years before, in chapter 21 verse 30, which states that have not those who disbelieve known that the entire universe, including heavens, galaxies and earth, were joined together as one united piece, and then we parted them, and we have made from water every living thing. Will they not then believe? So there is actually no contradiction in between an atheist or a scientist or a Muslim. The real question is, does this Big Bang theory or this Big Bang actually happen randomly, or was there any intelligence behind? To illustrate that, drop a glass on the floor, or maybe bang it on the wall. It will scatter into several pieces. Do it once, 10 times, or billion times. The result will always be in destruction. We all agree that it can never be resulted into a dinner set. It is not only the creation of this world, but also the amazing balance and discipline which come as a resultant tells that every unbiased researcher will come into the conclusion that there is a supreme intelligence behind, who have controlled this phenomena. We refer this same supreme intelligence as God or Allah. Saying that the existence of this universe is happened without any planner is like saying that was a blast in some scrapyard and it resulted into a highly sophisticated jumbo jet plane. The seats get fixed, the doors and windows appears, a super navigation panel get fixed into the pilot cabin, etc. Will you gonna believe me? Of course not, as it sounds totally illogical. Our planet have 21% oxygen. If it becomes less or more than this, life cannot survive. If gravity increases a little, we cannot lift our feet. If it becomes less, we start floating in the air. These ideal percentages and the discipline in countless other entities around us testifies the existence of a supreme intelligence. Forget about everything. Even if you ponder upon yourself, you will reach to the same conclusion. Look at the position of your nose. Why it's not on your knee or your elbow? Why it is on the ideal position here? You see something by your eyes, you smell that by your nose, and then you eat it or taste it by your mouth. This is the intelligent design. Otherwise, as per theory of evolution by Charles Darwin, the position of your nose can be anywhere. And this is not the one example I'm giving it to you. Our entire body, including all of our internal organs, elaborate the same amazing smart design. Please acknowledge that the science only can addresses the questions of how. It cannot answer you why and who. It is simply not the domain of science at all. What makes you think that there is no wisdom or purpose or reason behind the human existence? Forget about it. You don't believe the existence of God. Fine. But you do believe that you exist. I ask you, who is this you? When I say that I have done this, who is this I? Is this I mean my body? These hands, legs, nose, eyes, etc.? If yes, then what if I have an accident right now and lose my eyes or hands or legs? Will I still exist? Of course, yes, I will still exist. So this cannot be my body. This I is not my body, but an invisible force inside me. Call it a spirit, life, soul, consciousness, or in Quranic term, nafs, whatever you like. But there is an invisible force, invisible me inside me who represent this I. Science only address matter. The Big Bang Theory, idea of strongest survival, life emerging from single cell, this all trying to explain that how this physical world, including my body, came into existence. But it does not explain at all about my I, myself, or in Quranic term, my nafs. Religion addresses this invisible cell, this invisible self. God is invisible, just like my I is invisible. But it doesn't mean that he does not exist. It is not rational to say that I will only believe if I can see or touch. If I ask you, did you have seen or did you believe that your grandfather existed? You will say yes, but you never have met him or you never have seen him. The reason you are so confident about his existence is because that you yourself exist, and your existence is a direct proof of the existence of your great granddad. Also, there are countless scientific realities which cannot be seen or nobody has seen it, but everyone accept their existence. One example is gravity. We have no disagreement in the existence of gravity, but none of us, including the scientists, have ever seen it. We only observe the effects of gravity and then accept its existence without insisting to see it. Similarly, when you see a painting, you know there is a painter. You see a house and you don't need me to tell you that there is an architect behind. Saying that Taj Mahal or Windsor Castle get created without any architect is more logical than saying that this highly disciplined world came into existence and constantly run without any planner behind. The plain simple logic, no philosophical business, the plain simple logic says that nothing can create nothing. There should be something to create something. Behind every action there is a cause, and that cause itself is a reaction of another cause, and so on. There is a chain of cause and reaction, and we know that. Every reaction has its cause, and that cause itself is a reaction of someone, and then there is a cause. But this cause and reaction chain cannot be infinite. There must be the first cause which has initiated this chain. We call this first cause as God or Allah. Now, an atheist can argue that if all causes are created from one another, then who have created that very first cause? Or in other words, who have created the God? But this question itself is absurd and illogical. as God by definition is someone who creates and cannot be created. We can apply this cause and reaction chain to material world because we are well aware of the nature of matter. But we cannot comprehend God simply because in this world of ours we don't have any likeness of God available. In Quran it is advised to conceive God not by his appearance, because you cannot comprehend, but try to know God by his attributes. And Quran we call them as 99 names of God. For example, he is Al-Hakim, meaning the wise, or Al-Alim, the knowledge giver. But just for the sake of argument, I would like to draw your attention to the physics law of conservation of energy, which states that energy can neither be created nor it can be destroyed. Another law of physics called as law of thermodynamics tells that energy transforms into matter and matter transforms into energy. So science, in other words, telling us that energy is eternal. Is it not surprising that atheist has no objection in saying that energy can neither be created nor it can be destroyed, but he is not ready to accept that God cannot be created or destroyed. He is ready to accept that a dumb energy can exist always and can be eternal, but he is not ready to accept the existence of a power who is wise. We call him as God, as forever, as eternal. How on earth we human with all our intelligence are the product of a dumb energy source? It is not possible. Computer is a smart machine. Yeah, right? Computer is a smart machine, and its smartness testifies that it is a product of a smarter creator called as human. Similarly, our own intelligence is the proof of a greater intelligence behind. We call him as Allah. Our moral being also suggests that it is not only the physical being which is well proportioned, but also our inner self has been proportioned in a way which is miraculous, which cannot be possible just by the series of chances. No wonder that a person from a New York City or a person from Zulu tribe both are aware of the basic human ethics, such as lying is bad and saying truth is good, stealing is bad and giving justice is good, and so on. This emerged from inside. That's why there is no contradiction in between any part of the world. In Quran it says, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, that your nafs, your self, your inner self has been proportioned very well. فَأَلْهَامَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, and then we have injected, we have inspired it with the sense of goodness and evil. In the end, one should analyze that if a person dies believing in God, and let's say there is no life after death, still he has nothing to lose. But if an atheist die and it turns out that there is a life after that, oh, you imagine what can be the consequence. I'm not trying to suggest here that start believing in God because of this probability. What I'm trying to emphasize though is to research it well. Research it well before jumping into the conclusion of denying God. You may be a doctor, engineer, scientist, or lawyer and have read hundreds of books, but ask yourself honestly that have you ever studied the major scriptures such as glorious Quran? At least read it, study it before rejecting it. What do you think about a critic who criticizes a movie without watching it? So don't be a critic of religion if you haven't studied it. And of course, you don't need to answer me, or you don't need to answer anyone, but to yourself. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening.